I want you to think about the last time you walked into your workshop. Not a special occasion, not a big project, just a normal day. You walked in, picked up a tool, and started working. Everything you did felt completely natural. Felt right. Felt like what woodworking is supposed to look like. What if I told you that some of those habits, the ones that feel the most normal, the ones you have been doing for years without a second thought, are slowly, quietly, making you a worse woodworker? Not the obvious mistakes. Not the ones the tutorials warn you about. The normal ones. The ones hiding in plain sight inside your workshop every single day. Today on Wood Uncle, we are going through 7 of them. And I am warning you now, by the time we get to number 1, you are going to recognize yourself. Stay with me anyway. Because uncomfortable is where the improvement lives. Welcome to Wood Uncle. Subscribe now and hit that bell. Habit number 7. Measuring everything instead of fitting anything. Every cut, every joint, every piece of wood gets a tape measure on it. You mark the line, you cut to the line, you move on. And your work is full of tiny errors you cannot explain. Here is what is happening. A tape measure tells you a number. It does not tell you whether 2 surfaces actually fit each other. And in woodworking, fit is everything. A joint that measures perfectly on paper but does not seat cleanly is a joint that will fail. The old masters measured to establish a starting point, and then they fitted. They put the pieces together, felt the joint with their hands, found where it was too tight or too loose, removed a single shaving, and tested again. That process is how you achieve joinery that does not rattle, does not rack, does not open up 5 years later. On your next project, after every cut, put the joint together dry before you reach for the glue. Feel what the wood is telling you. Is it smooth? Does it seat fully without force? If not, your tape measure already did its job. Now it is time to do yours. Measuring is the beginning of precision, fitting is precision itself. Habit number 6. Sanding when you should be cutting. Sandpaper feels productive. The surface gets smoother. The wood starts to look the way you imagined it. And so you sand? And somewhere around the 3rd grit you convince yourself that you are doing fine work. You are not. You are hiding problems instead of solving them. Sanding is a finishing step. It is what you do after the work is done. It is not a substitute for a properly set plane or a sharp chisel. When you reach for sandpaper to fix a surface that should have been cut cleanly, you are covering a failure with abrasive instead of correcting it. Sanding rounds edges that should be crisp. It blurs details that define quality. It leaves abrasive particles in the wood surface that show up as dull patches under a good light. And it takes a surface that should have been cut in seconds and turns it into 30 minutes of work that leaves the wood worse than 1 pass with a sharp plane would have done. The old masters barely sanded. Their surfaces came off the plane ready to finish. Their joints came off the chisel ready to glue. Next time you reach for sandpaper, ask yourself why. If the answer is because this surface is rough or because this joint does not quite fit, put it down. Sharpen the tool. Fix the problem. Then sand. A surface fixed by a sharp tool is better than a surface rescued by sandpaper. Every single time. Habit number 5. Working in a cold or damp workshop without thinking about it. You walk in and you start. Winter, summer, damp, dry. The workshop is the workshop. And your glue joints are weaker than they should be, your wood moves in ways that surprise you, your finish does things you cannot predict. And you blame the materials. The materials are not the problem. The environment is. Glue applied below 50 degrees Fahrenheit will not cure to its full strength. The joint will set, but it will be permanently weaker than the label promised. Wood brought from a dry lumber yard into a damp garage will absorb moisture and move before you finish dimensioning it. Finish applied in high humidity will trap moisture under the film and cloud within days. The old masters acclimatized their wood. They understood which conditions were right for which operations. They knew the workshop itself was part of the process. You do not need a climate-controlled workshop. But you do need to know what your workshop is doing before you start working. A cheap thermometer and hygrometer on the wall cost almost nothing. Knowing your workshop is 45 degrees before you open your glue bottle costs nothing. Ignoring it costs you the joint. The wood does not care about your schedule. Work with your conditions, not against them. Habit number 4. Rushing the dry time. You do not wait long enough. Not for the glue, not for the finish, not for the wood to acclimatize. You move to the next step before the current step is actually finished. And you tell yourself it is probably fine. It is not fine. A PVA glue joint removed from clamps at 30 minutes has set, but it has not cured. Full cure takes 24 hours. A joint stressed before then is permanently weakened before it ever had a chance. You will not see it. But it is there. And it will show up in a year, or in 5, when the joint opens under load. The same is true for finish. Apply the next coat too soon and you trap solvents underneath. It looks perfect for a week and then starts to cloud or peel at the edges. And by then you do not want to strip it back. The old masters understood that time was not wasted in woodworking. Time was working. The glue was curing. The finish was hardening. The wood was settling. Their job was simply not to interrupt it. Wait for the glue. Wait for the finish. Wait for the wood. The project will be better for every hour you do not rush it. Before we get to the top 3, hit that like button if this video is making you think differently about your workshop. And subscribe if you have not already. This is the conversation we have every week on Wood Uncle. Habit number 3. Buying tools instead of developing skill. A new plane when the old one just needs tuning. A better saw when the problem is the hand holding the saw. A different bit when the issue is technique, not tooling. And every time you open that box there is a moment where you think this is the thing that will make the difference. It is never the thing that makes the difference. Buying a tool feels like progress. It has the emotional satisfaction of doing something about your woodworking without the discomfort of confronting what actually needs to improve. And what needs to improve is almost always skill, not equipment. The old masters worked with very few tools. Not because they could not afford more. Because they understood that a craftsman's relationship with a tool deepens over years, and that depth produces better results than novelty ever could. A plane used by the same hands for 20 years is a different instrument than one fresh from the box. Before your next purchase, ask honestly, is this a tool problem or a skill problem? Because if it is a skill problem, no amount of new equipment will solve it. Only practice will. Only the uncomfortable process of doing the thing badly until you do it better. The best investment you can make in your woodworking is not in your tool collection. It is in the hours you spend using what you already have. Habit number 2. Never sharpening until the tool stops working. You sharpen when the plane starts tearing instead of slicing. When the chisel needs force to move. When the edge is so far gone you cannot ignore it anymore. That is not a sharpening practice. That is emergency maintenance. A dull plane does not cut wood fiber. It crushes and compresses it, leaving a surface that glue cannot penetrate properly. A dull chisel tears rather than severs, leaving ragged walls that no amount of fitting will correct. A dull saw wanders because it is forcing, not cutting. All of it traces back to one edge that was not sharp enough. The old masters sharpened constantly. Not when tools stopped working. Before that, they stropped between cuts on demanding wood. They tested edges on the ball of the thumb before trusting them with the work. Their tools never got dull enough to damage anything. Build this rule: no tool goes back on the rack without being stropped. Before every session, touch every edge you plan to use to a strop or a fine stone. 2 minutes. It will change everything you produce. Sharpening is not maintenance. Sharpening is the work. One left. And I have saved it for last because it is the most common habit on this entire list. The one that separates craftsmen who keep improving from the ones who plateau and stay there. Habit number 1. Working at the same level you worked at yesterday. Same techniques. Same approaches. Same standard for what counts as good enough. The same woodworker you were a year ago. 5 years ago. And you call it experience. Here is the hard truth. Experience without reflection is just repetition. And repetition of the same techniques at the same standard does not make you better. It makes you comfortable. And comfortable is the enemy of craft. The old masters practiced deliberately. Every joint was an opportunity to do something slightly better than the last one. They looked at their finished work with a critical eye that never softened, never allowed them to stop seeing where the work fell short of what it could have been. After every session in your workshop, before you put your tools away, spend 5 minutes looking at what you made. Not to admire it. To interrogate it. Where is the joint slightly off? Where did you make a decision out of habit instead of out of thought? That question, asked honestly and consistently, is the difference between a craftsman still learning after 40 years and one who stopped learning after 5. Go into your workshop tomorrow and do something slightly harder than what you did today. Attempt the thing you have been telling yourself you are not ready for. You are ready. You have always been ready. The only thing in the way was the habit of staying where it was comfortable. 7 normal habits that are quietly making you a worse woodworker. Measuring everything instead of fitting anything. Sanding when you should be cutting. Working in conditions you have never stopped to consider. Rushing the dry time. Buying tools when you need practice. Sharpening when the tool stops instead of before it does. And working at the same level you worked at yesterday, calling it experience, and wondering why the improvement stopped. None of these habits are shameful. Every one of them is normal. That is the point. That is why they are dangerous. But every habit on this list is a choice. And every choice can be made differently starting tomorrow. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you recognize in yourself. Be honest. I will be reading every one. Share this with a fellow woodworker who needs to hear it. Not the beginner. The experienced one who has been doing this for 20 years and has not stopped to question any of it. That is who this video was made for. Subscribe to Wood Uncle if you have not already. And I will see you in the next one. Keep your edges sharp. Keep your standards higher. And never mistake comfort for progress.